Hello love, can you exterminate all anime girl factions as short kings? Long ago, the anime girl and the short king dwarf live in harmony. But when the dwarf proposes marriage, he's met with a brutal rejection simply because he's vertically challenged. So, the only reasonable thing left to do is extermination. And my job is to command the USS Vengeance, continuously upgrade our ship and a squad of dwarf slayers, so that we have the overwhelming firepower needed to wipe out all 10 anime girl factions and their 40 bases across the map. We crash land directly into an anime girl base, and our captain, Ragnar, immediately orders the troop to battle station. 3 brave and mostly single dwarven thunderers rapidly push out, ready to purge the unsuspecting sexy nun cosplayer. And just to secure our top 10 spot, for the war crime any percent speedrun, I deploy our aggressive peacekeeping mech. Chamber in 30 by 173mm NATO round, our peacekeeper ensures that you will accept democracy willingly. Should you have any complaints regarding our unsanctioned special military operation, please forward them to the ICC in Den Haag, China. Don't worry, we promise to treat our prisoner well and afford them the human rights that anime girls deserve. With the cosplayers sent to a nice beachside resort in the afterlife, I begin our safe migration into their base, helping myself to their electronics and tearing out those delicious copper wires from the wall. Some might argue that Vengeance is wrong and is immoral. On the contrary, Ragnar is absolutely ecstatic. Do you know how much he has sacrificed for her? He was her head Twitch mod. He was there for her daily 20 viewer stream. He even donated his plasma for her. But the moment she recovers, she goes for a 6'2" chud. It should have been Ragnar. Hello, if you or someone you love is currently suffering from acute E-Girl dependency, please hit the like and subscribe button. It's a crippling mental illness, and I'm the only one that can save you. Anyway, continuing with our righteous crusade, but first we have to repair the USS Vengeance. Crash landing through the atmosphere has left the ship bare. Thankfully, our storage and the ship core are safe, so I initiate the reconstruction plan. Our first priority is to build bedrooms for brave dwarves. I ensure these rooms meet the bare absolute minimum for Section 8 housing, because God knows these short kings aren't bringing anyone back here anyway, so why make it big? Suddenly, mid-construction, an anime girl approaches, wishing to join us. She speaks of amending past wrongs and fulfilling an old promise. Her Victorian goth aesthetic and well-endowed proportion makes a compelling argument. But luckily, bro cell Ingel is nearby to defuse the situation before any other bros catch feelings. And as we finish the research room, Ingel paranoia is proven right, as the Church of Alentia sends a raiding party. Thankfully, Thorgrim gets to the mech in time, protecting the group chat from the lies and deceit of the anime foids. With the small raid repel, we take off with renewed vigor, knowing that our holy crusade is entirely justified. The next base on our hit list is the Alenthians. These fallen angel nun cosplayers are as toxic as they look. The moment we land, they begin bombarding our ship with boyfriend baiting and immediately launch a hype train towards our innocent lads. Thankfully, our dwarves are constitutional experts and fierce proponents of repealing the 19th Amendment. These anime baddies stand absolute no chance against gamers with 5,000 hours in armor. Of course, Ingel doesn't forget to sneak in a few assault and battery charges whilst we're at it. With that, another base fall. But as we repair the damage, both psychologically and physically, the goddess of this world, who made her debut in manga classic like That Time I Reincarnated and Made Love to My Katana, is furious that we just purged another of her daughters. So, she sends a giant tornado towards our ship. I immediately evacuate everyone. The tornado first nicks the cockpit, then drifts in the opposite direction, teasing me with the idea that it might just pass by. Then it immediately U-turn, cutting through my expensive research room before obliterating the storage room filled with fuel and munitions. Of course, it doesn't forget to do one last fuck you to everyone's bed. This must be like experiencing those mostly peaceful protests I keep hearing about. Thankfully, as a fire subside, all of our metal, our ship core, and most importantly, our sunscreen somehow survive. Rebuilding the destroyed rooms is not hard, thanks to our metal stockpile. Our main problem now are food and ammo to continue the crusade. For food, the answer is obvious. We initiate a series of non-consensual trade agreements with the Merchant Guild. It's too bad for them not expecting me to use violence to solve my problems. A shame, really. Now, regarding the bullets, I chart a course to a nearby uncovered ruin, hoping to find crafting materials or an untouched ammo dump. Our initial scout finds a massive stockpile of loot, more than enough to jumpstart our military-industrial complex. But the moment we push out, a group of E-Girls has already arrived to beg for attention. They must be hitting their 40s, and the simp money is drying up. So I generously donate the few remaining of my 30 by 173mm NATO round to their cause. You have to respect the hustle, you know? Especially since we're here to rob the place too. And of course, when offered a handout, you absolutely take everything. No need to be polite. But now, we have a problem. Through excessive looting, we have reached the ship's maximum capacity. So, our next stop is an ancient stockpile containing a grav core. All we need to do is to hack this blast door. With a PhD in computer science from Kim Il-sung University, Ragnar deploys the model poisoning technique, flooding the defending AI with a continuous stream of Asmongold at various stages of building. It completely overwhelms the AI, forcing it to open a back door for us. I immediately send a hit squad down and purge anything that isn't a true believer in hype maxing. With a grav core secure, we can now build a Wi-Fi extender, allowing us to expand the ship up to 750 points, which I use to kickstart our defense industry. I then push southwest to purge everything in that direction, but the difficulty curve has spiked massively. Our first target, BPD Dragon Girls, they are as crazy as they're beautiful. Before our lads can even regroup, they immediately charge at us, violently demanding tier 3 subscription renewal. Unlike the previous anime baddies, these Dragon Girl prefer to swamp or dwarf in close quarter melee combat, using a flurry of dubious allegation. And despite us firing back with high caliber bullets of logic, facts, and irrefutable evidence, these Dragovoids remain unrelenting. They even managed to bring down Brocel Ingro. A brother down, a brother down! Thankfully, Fulgrin stands firmly by his squad's innocent, and his DMR is able to destroy the harassment campaign before everyone falls. Whilst everyone patches their reputational damage from the horrible battle, I have them touch grass and do some light expansion to the hull, and finally rebuild the research room, where Ragnar can focus researching on how to make more mechs. Moving on to our next target, the Cat Girls. They are as numerous as they're devious. They specifically target middle-class white boys, selling them the falsehood of a 2D waifu. It's a gateway drug to absolute financial ruin. $300 figurine here, $5,000 collector edition there, and before you know it, they book a one-way flight to Akihabara and never return the same. Thankfully, the moment the Catgirl horde comes at us, through my extensive research into Catgirl anatomy, I'm able to discover their one weakness: bullets. Unlike the other anime baddies, these Catvoids are extremely weak to being shot at, regardless of the caliber. So, this is for the countless brothers that were lost to animes. Amen. Meanwhile, we also just finished researching MobileDragoon, the first prerequisite for building standard issue mech. But before we can build anything, we have to deal with the cyberpunk girls. They have the speed of a crack addict, weird psycho magic that turns war into landmine, and weapons so strong that war crimes are practically an index, instantly downing a heavily armored dwarf in one explosion. They are the strongest enemy we have faced so far. But no amount of female firepower can out-Otis a guy lopping a Space Marine Dreadnought operator. The mech is impervious to their bullshit weaponry, and through my strategic raid planning of just absorbing their hits while running and praying that our shot connect, they are finally exterminated together with the entire southwest sector. Back at the ship, we now have to disarm the leftover cycle mines, which Thorgrim decides the most efficient method is simply walk over them. Meanwhile, I begin a massive overhaul of the ship, upgrading all the walls to armored walls, frame maxing them from a measly 840 health up to a beefy 1100 health. But our biggest bottleneck right now is firepower. It's all fun and game when we can laugh as Black Templar Space Marine, but when the enemy can effortlessly cripple our lads, we have a serious problem. But we're still missing a bunch of techs for mech production, so Thorgrim begins crafting a stopgap solution. Gentlemen and female gentlemen, I present you the Exoskeleton. These bad boys increase our lads' work speed and carrying capacity. But most importantly, they drastically boost dwarf movement speed. This allows our short king to just bitch run in the opposite direction, while Thorgrim exclusively deal with the horrifying task of talking to women. Our next campaign is wiping out the entire western sector, but the vicious cat girl, knowing that they can't win a frontal assault, begin employing terrifying biochemical weapons against our troops. Plague warheads, nerve agent, but the most atrocious of all, weaponized gamer girl bathwater. Breathing even a whiff of this aerosolized weapon drives a man completely insane, filling the victim's mind with nothing but sheer degeneracy and gooning. And that's not the only upgrade the anime baddies are packing. The cyberpunk girl have begun tapping into their Japanese ancestry, pulling out kamikaze strat. They ensure that if the allegation don't work, they're dragging a short king down to hell with them. As if that wasn't enough, a brand new anime baddie faction enters the chat, Evil Robot Girl. They specialize in long-range laser weaponry, whilst they aren't as strong as the cyberpunk or dragon girls. Catching continuous high-power laser to the face during an innocent E-Girl roleplay will instantly down any unsuspecting short king. But there are good news. I managed to set up preliminary outer foundry to forge alloys for our mechs. However, the bad news is running them take an extreme toll on our power grid, and our 4 primitive wood-fired generators cannot sustain the load. Not to mention, we're also refining wood into chem fuels for the ship thrusters. And we're completely out of trees. But there's a highly efficient, eco-friendly alternative for chem fuel production: burning organics. And do you know what we have a massive abundance of? Corpses. A lot of anime girl corpses. So, what if we just chop up a few anime baddies to power our military-industrial complex? And you see, the thing about morality is that the first butcher corpse is a rude desecration of the dead, but after that, chopping up 5 or 500 cat girls just becomes statistic, really. Remember, progress requires sacrifice, and the machine god doesn't give a damn whose sacrifice it is. However, there are people out there just unwilling to accept modernity. Take these dragon girls for example, fiercely protesting against our new green energy initiatives. These backwards Luddites don't realize I'm advocating for them, for their right for an equitable, carbon-neutral society. Why don't anybody just think of the planets and the rising CO2 level? But thankfully, dead people can't protest. And with that, short kings and short queens, we have successfully purged the entire western sector, officially clearing half the map. But before we can push into the eastern front, we need to upgrade. Our ship arrives at an ancient terraforming site, and I order the dwarf to start chipping through the ice to find a terraformer. We quickly hit a protective vault wall, packing 7500 hit point. Now, we could spend hours digging around to find a door like civilized people. Or we could just do it the American way. I mean, what's the point of owning a high-caliber, mech-mounted DMR if you aren't going to use it? Blast it open, Thorgrim! After extracting the grav core from the terraformer, I hyper-focused the colony industry on fabricating the PV8 mech module. They are exhaustingly expensive to produce. Thankfully, we have just enough stockpile to craft one mech. Few days later, Ragnar installed the frame, seals the helmet. We have a factory new mobile oppression platform. But there's just one slight issue. It doesn't have a gun. And the most logical way to acquire weapons of violence is through even more violence. Ragnar enters the new mech, equips his personal weapon. Together with the lads, the Short Kings begin unleashing years of pent-up frustration for being forced to attend mandatory anti-harassment training directly onto the summit machine. The clankers stand absolutely no chance. And from their corpses, we are able to craft a mech DMR. Bolted directly onto Ragnar's right arm and slapped on an ammo backpack. Gentlemen, the colony now has a second fully functional, highly lethal defensive mech. So, the first thing I do is to restart the self-defense campaign against the cyberpunk girls. They rain bullets upon our mechs to absolutely no effect at all. Even better, Thorgrim can finally tag team and bitch slap these annoying cyberfoids alongside his best bro Ragnar. But of course, we run into another problem, a logistical bottleneck. In order to make mechs, we need industrial quantities of Nutramine. And coincidentally, I just so happen to have this massive industrial meat grinder that processes organics and chem fuel directly into pure Nutramine. Just the stuff we need. And what meat am I going to put in there? Anime baddie meat, of course. Keep doing what you're doing, Thorgrim. With that, the machinery printer is already printing our next mech. This one is for Ingeldstrasse. It comes equipped with a massive, overcompensating two-handed mech combat sword and mech thrusters. Because what's better than shooting anime baddies from afar? Rocket jumping directly onto their faces, of course. What are they gonna do? Talk about their boundaries and consent to an 8-foot-tall steel death machine? Yeah, I don't think so. But the cyberpunk girls aren't just going to roll over. They deploy some Tencent sponsored cyber hexes to disable Ingeld's combat sword, causing all of his hit to turn into wet noodle, a severe tactical issue, which I immediately remedy by just shooting them to death. Days later, into the Eastern campaign, Ingeld proves invaluable to the operation. His extensive history of dubious behavior towards anime baddies is a massive red flag to all the LA cosplayers, effectively aggroing all of them towards him. This allows Thorgrim and Ragnar to freely mow them down from the backside. And with that, we have pretty much cleared 2/3 of the map with only 14 bases remaining. But the lads in the lab aren't done cooking yet. Behold, these are M72 LAWs, light anti-tank weapons. And these are 5 fully operational battle mechs, ready for service. So, what if we just bolt M72 LAWs onto their shoulders as missile parts, each part packing 6 highly explosive rockets? Power Ranger, suit up! It's time to show these foids exactly why we don't have free healthcare. The government is spending your tax dollars on rockets either way. Might as well make it look cool. And no, shooting anti-tank rockets at hostile anime girl is in perfect compliance with the international code. So sadly, no bonus war crime for us today. But as we prepare our final push towards the last base on the map, we're suddenly ambushed by a massive horde of remaining anime baddies. They are throwing everything they have left at us. Without enough time to set up defenses or suit up in the mechs, I have Ingrok, Gozen, and Ingeld sprint to the artillery and fire our secret weapon, a stockpile of nuclear bomb directly at our own ship. As the anime baddies surrounds us and violently bash against our ship's shield, they are met with the concentrated fury and fire of a short man trying to reach an item on the top shelf. Ragnarok has come for the tours. With the survivor writhing on the ground from radiation, I have the lads suit up one last time to exterminate the survivors. They put up a feeble attempt, a desperate final screech against the patriarchy. But at last, female tiers cannot melt 30 by 173mm NATO rounds. And with that, my above average king and queens, we have done it. We have successfully exterminated all anime girl factions and bases across the map. Hello Cavet Mexa, a massive personal thank you to all of you for getting us to 1k subs. I hope you enjoyed this extended session of my rendition of an unsanctioned special military operation. If you did, drop a like, comment, sub, and hype the video. Okay, bye.